Donald Trump just wrapped up his speech at the United Nations. I mean, just look at him right here. He looked awful. It was one of the most bizarre and disastrous speeches I've ever seen him give, or frankly, anyone give, and that's saying a lot. Donald Trump first couldn't get up the escalator because the escalator stopped right as he was walking up to it, and then the teleprompter shut down right before he was set to give his speech. Who's ever behind that, well done. Well done. Just watch what happened at the escalator first. Here, play this clip.
President Trump. Schumer.
Right, then going into Donald Trump's speech right here, Donald Trump starts talking about, this is in a speech, he goes, Donald J. Trump, a real estate developer, wanted to develop this very land. How utterly embarrassing. Here, watch what went down. This is for real. Here, play this clip.
And we have others that we're working on, and you know that. Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well. I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo. I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time, and which actually produced a far inferior product. And I realized that they did not.
But now, here's the moment that the teleprompter stopped working at the beginning. Here, play this clip.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you, nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big...
Then Donald Trump looks at all of the representatives from the countries there in the United Nations and says, you are all destroying your countries. Your countries are going to hell. Here, play this clip.
And deplete our social safety net. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody is ever, and nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say...
Yeah, like numerous foreign dignitaries have been saying, like this is the most embarrassing thing to go, how are you in the United States not humiliated by this? Most of us are humiliated by this. Then Donald Trump says, as part of his kind of fan fiction, fantasy world, that he goes, and he starts attacking former President Biden at the United Nations. He's like, we've rapidly reversed the economic calamity that we've inherited. Grocery prices are down. Inflation is down. We are in a golden age in the United States, thanks to me. The utterly deranged, all false, and the people who were there at the United Nations representing the other countries were like, oh my God, this guy is actually deranged. Here, play this clip.
This is indeed the golden age of America. We are rapidly reversing the economic calamity we inherited from the previous administration, including ruinous price increases and record-setting inflation. Inflation like we've never had before. Under my leadership, energy costs are down, gasoline prices are down, grocery prices are down, mortgage rates are down, and inflation has been defeated. The only thing that's up is the stock market, which just hit a record high.
Then Donald Trump starts attacking London, and he says, I hate the mayor of London. Here, play this clip.
I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed, so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is...
Then Donald Trump starts talking about how the United States military is shooting fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela, and he kind of makes a joke about it. There are too many boats traveling on seas by Venezuela. They don't want to travel there anymore, as Donald Trump posts ISIS-style death videos that violate international law and violate kind of the United Nations' entire reason for being. Donald Trump mocking, killing people on fishing boats, and then posting the videos on his social media account. You're play this clip.
I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as far as and you see this, and you see it happening right before your eyes. Let's put it this way: people don't like taking big loads of drugs in boats anymore. There aren't too many boats that are traveling on the seas by Venezuela. They tend not to want to travel very quickly anymore. And we've virtually stopped drugs coming into our country by sea. We call them the water drugs. They kill hundreds of thousands of people. I've also designated...
Then Donald Trump attacks Brazil. He says, I'm sorry to say this, but Brazil is doing awful, and they're going to be doing worse. And he starts attacking the judicial system of Brazil. And again, at this point, our soybean farmers in the United States know that Brazil is getting all of our business right now from China and elsewhere. But anyway, go on, Donald. Here, play this clip.
We actually agreed that we would meet next week. We didn't have much time to talk, like about 20 seconds. They were in retrospect, I'm glad I waited because this thing didn't work out too well. But we did talk. We had a good talk, and we agreed to meet next week, if that's of interest. But he seemed like a very nice man, actually. He liked me, I liked him. But if you, and I only do business with people I like. When I don't like them, I don't like them. But we had, at least for about 39 seconds, we had excellent chemistry. It's a good sign. But also in the past, Brazil, can you believe this, unfairly tariffed our nation, but now because of our tariffs, we are hitting them back, and we're hitting them back very hard. As president, I will always defend our national sovereignty and the rights of American citizens. So I'm very sorry to say this, that Brazil is doing poorly and will continue to do poorly. They can only do well when they're working with us. Without us, they will fail, just as others have failed. It's true. Next year, the United...
And then Donald goes on to talk about the lie where he claims that he stopped 7 wars. He takes credit for stopping a war in Congo, which there's still war in Congo right now. He claims that he stopped the war between India and Pakistan, which he did not. And then he wants an award. He goes, and all I got from the United Nations, who didn't help me, nobody stopped as many wars as me. All I get is a broken teleprompter and a broken escalator. You play this clip.
In Armenia and Azerbaijan, it included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. There's never been anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that did...
Oh, he's got to go back and attack Brazil even more right here. Play this clip.
For everyone and is sustainable into the future. We're also using tariffs to defend our sovereignty and security throughout the world, including against nations that have taken advantage of former U.S. administrations for decades, including the most corrupt, incompetent administration in history, the sleepy Joe Biden administration. Brazil now faces major tariffs in response to its unprecedented efforts to interfere in the rights and freedoms of our American citizens and others, with censorship, repression, weaponization, judicial corruption, and targeting of political critics in the United States. I have a little problem saying this because I must tell you, I was walking in and the leader of Brazil was walking out. We saw him and I saw him, he saw me, and we embraced. And then I'm saying, can you believe I'm going to be saying this in just 2 minutes? We actually agreed that we would meet next week. We didn't have much time to talk, like about 20 seconds. They were in retrospect, I'm glad I waited because this thing didn't work out too well. But we did talk. We had a good talk, and we agreed to meet next week, if that's of interest. But he seemed like a very nice man, actually. He liked me, I liked him. But if you, and I only do business with people I like, I don't.
Then Donald Trump starts talking about renewable energy, which Donald Trump calls a green scam. And then he goes, you should listen to me. I predict everything right. You're all doing green scams. You need to stop it. Trump is right about everything. That's how he keeps talking about himself during this speech. Trump is right about everything. Here, play this clip.
That have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail. I'm the president of the United States, but I worry about Europe.
You know, I remember, what was it like? I don't know if it was 10 years ago or so, maybe longer. I don't remember, when Omar Gaddafi of Libya gave the speech, and everybody was like, oh my God, that was like a deranged speech. This speech was more deranged than Gaddafi's speech, like by far. Like, by far. This may be the most craziest speech ever given in the United Nations, and it's by the President of the United States. I mean, this is... And then one of the, it's just the most embarrassing thing right now to be a thinking American at this moment of time. I don't know how no matter what political party you are, I don't know how you're into this stuff. Then Donald Trump says that climate change is the greatest con job ever. Here, play this clip.
We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world, but then it started getting cooler, so now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate change, because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, this climate change, it's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said...
But then Donald Trump says there's all this garbage coming in from Asia. Let's play it.
Their countries' fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't...
He attacks wind, play it.
Energy is another area where the United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work. They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate. Then they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot. Most expensive energy ever conceived, and it's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies. And most of them are built in China, and I give China...
Then he goes on this bizarre rant. This one reminded me of yesterday when he was telling people don't take Tylenol, and he was giving his thoughts about hepatitis B. But here Donald Trump says that Europe loses more than 150,000 people to heat deaths. Each year they die of the heat in Europe every year. Here, play this clip.
A year from now. But they've come way down over the last year. As a result, every air conditioner is like very uncommon to see one in some of these countries because the electric cost is so high. So while the U.S. has approximately 1,300 heat-related deaths annually, that's a lot, Europe loses more than 175,000 people to heat deaths each year because the costs are so expensive you can't turn on an air conditioner. What is that all about? That's not Europe. That's not the Europe that I love and know. All in the name of pretending to stop the global warming hoax.
And then Donald Trump says that proud nations must be allowed to protect their communities and prevent their societies. This is his closing message. Proud nations must protect their communities from different customs, religions, and everything. Here, play this clip.
Done immediately. This cannot be sustained. What makes the world so beautiful is that each country is unique. But to stay this way, every sovereign nation must have the right to control their own borders. You have the right to control your borders, as we do now, and to limit the sheer numbers of migrants entering their countries and paid for by the people of that nation that were there and that built that particular nation at the time. They put their blood, sweat, tears, money into that country, and now they're being ruined. Proud nations must be allowed to protect their communities and prevent their societies from being overwhelmed by people they have never seen before with different customs, religions, with different everything, where migrants have violated laws, lodged false asylum claims or claims.
Wow, that's the United States message to the world. Proud countries must protect their countries from other customs, religions, and all different things. Then Donald Trump posted, "It was a great honor to speak before the United Nations. I believe the speech was well received. I focus very much on energy and immigration. I have been talking about this for a long time, and this forum was the absolute best from the standpoint of making these two important statements. I hope everybody gets to watch it. The teleprompter was broken, and the escalator came to a sudden halt as we were riding up to the podium. But both of those events probably made the speech more interesting than it would have been otherwise. It was always an honor to speak to the United Nations." I mean, so freaking strange right there. And then Fox has to sane wash. So let me just show you. I just showed you the clips, right, of what Trump said. Now Fox sane washes it and pretends that that was a great speech and it was normal. Watch as Harris Faulkner tries to act like this was a normal and courageous and heroic speech. This is how they brainwash their audiences, though. Here, play this clip.
President Trump has been speaking at the United Nations General Assembly in New York City. He unfurled raw truth to countries in attendance there and to the rest of the world. And moments from now, the president is set to hold a meeting with the UN Secretary General. And that meeting will follow that long speech that put quite the spotlight on the different world order we are living in now. He even called the former President Joe Biden by name, comparing where the world was under Biden and while Biden was leading the United States and where we are now. The president talked in detail about his own foreign policy victories, the successful containment of illegal immigration into the United States. And he had a warning, too, for other countries with all those open borders. And, of course, he talked about the ongoing wars with Israel versus Hamas and Ukraine versus Russia. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus.
So you saw his speech. Now you saw how Fox characterized it. That's why I show you the receipts. Anyway, hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thank you so much for watching.